An absolute spectacular game that happened yesterday between Magnus Carlsen and Fabiano Caruana. You are going to just love it. The way that Fabi played yesterday, twice beating Magnus Carlsen, one game after another, rapids they played. It's just like gave me the impression that it's like Mikhail Tal playing or something. It was so spectacular, tactical, and totally delicious. So let's have a look at this one here. Magnus White and Fabi plays with black. He won previously, and now that was the second game I was covering live as they were happened. By the way, you can join me today, 29th October, later on to watch the guys playing again. So knight f3 and knight to f6. Nothing funny about this one. c4 queens gambit played by Magnus. And now takes, and the mayhem starts. The variation is called now, after queen a4, the Mannheim variation, but I like to call it the mayhem variation, to which black can play in a couple of very good stuff here. You could do bishop c6, you could do knight c6, you could do knight b7. They are very theoretical and nothing wrong with that. Fabi opts for knight to d7, knight b8 to d7. And knight to c3, developing your stuff and all. a6 being played, of course, e6 would have worked very well. a6, not a problem. That doesn't stop the knight, though. So in case you're thinking, oh, probably he played a6 to stop knight, you don't really stop it because you can't take rook. The pawn is pinned and the rook's falling. So that doesn't really stop it, but prepares for future developing. Bishop f4, moving quickly out. Everything is great. You could see on the eval gauge, there's nothing funny about this. e6 now, again, very logical. You want to move the bishop out, you want to castle and this. So that's fine. e4, aggressively by Magnus now. He was frustrated with the previous game. He lost in a Berlin. Can you believe that? They traded off the queens and he still lost. So he wanted to make a draw, but didn't. So let's focus on this game at hand now. So what do you think he played here? Black. He spent like 4 minutes. So Fabi now is on 7 minutes 26. You see it on your screen yourselves. I don't know if it was a preparation. I don't know if he really tried to create something, but this is the first line of the engine itself. The stuff he's gonna play. Again, he dedicated more than 4 minutes to get himself to play boom, b5. And you would say, what is that? Well, yeah, you could take on b5, which is exactly what Magnus did, and there is nothing wrong with this. The blunder that Magnus got to play is coming, and we're going to highlight that one as well, because after all, Magnus is a human. So you take back, and of course the rook on a8 is hanging. You would say, this is crazy. Yeah, well, the rook is hanging, but the move that you're going to play, bishop to b4, actually keeps the balance up. You play the bishop to b4, you attack the king with tempo, and now white has to play precisely, accurately, or it's going to go down very quickly. And it did happen. Magnus didn't play the best move here for white, although he had more time than Fabi here. Bishop b4 is completely legit move. Again, attacks the white king with tempo. White should have replied here with bishop to d2. Perfectly fine. Balancing move. There is nothing wrong. Yeah, you're going to drop this guy a little bit. You're going to be trading off, but that's the best way to play here for white. But instead, Magnus played a weird looking like move. That's just not good for white to play. He went king to e2. And all of a sudden, you notice yourself, the eval gauge is not very much enthralled about this choice of theirs. King to e2, blocking the bishop on f1. It's not that good. He wanted to maintain the pressure with all those good stuff. Probably he was thinking about a way, Magnus, to attack together with the bishop and with the queen at some point on c7. Nonetheless, e5 played by Fabi. And boy, during the live stream, I was wondering, what is this doing? What's going on here? Well, there is something absolutely splendid, because after pawn takes, the shock continues with knight takes c5. And this is insane to play like this. I mean, Fabi, look at this. And you would say, wait a minute, can't I just take the guy's knight now? Knight f3 takes c5, right? I surely can do that. Well, this is a trap, because bishop to g4 checks the king and exposes the white queen to the other black queen's attack. You're actually going to lose the white queen. And if you wonder, wait a minute, but the bishop surely can take. Well, you could take, but what's coming is going to be devastating, because it's just checkmate after queen to d3. So this is absolutely amazing. Fabi able to play this kind of moves. Cool as a cucumber, you know. So rook d1 play by Magnus. Still, he's doing badly here. Knight to d3 elegantly now moves away from the weakness, blocks the attack from the rook here, and including threatening, it's not over, threatening knight takes f4 check with tempo. So queen to c6, Carlsen moves faster, tries to at least, checking the king, and as we discussed previously, there's a bit of pressure on the c7. Still, Fabi is winning. Bishop to d7, queen takes, and queen to a8. I was a little bit panicking yesterday with black here, and I was just thinking, oh, just take the queen, you know, but no, Fabi, no. Queen to a8. He refused the trade-off, the queens. Queen to b8 now, you know, king to e7 played by Fabi. Amazing stuff. Again, it's just fabulous. He played king to e7. He centralized the king. He connects the black queen with the black rook on h8. So in case white takes, of course, you are going to take back. Now you have to. But before he took, unbelievable. He's really, really playing like nerves of steel, this Fabi yesterday. He didn't take the queen. He actually took with tempo. It's just unbelievable. Knight takes f4 with tempo, checking the king. King had to move now, and then he took on a8, aiming to get on a2 and undermining those two white pawn on the second rank. And we're going to see this is paramount for yourself to creating two black pass pawns to move and promote eventually. Yeah, they're going to be taking your knight, but you continue with rook a2 exactly as we said. You're going to take on b2 as well. Now, Magnus starts playing defensively. He does defensive stuff. Rook to b1. And now we're talking, of course, about the bullet type of chess because they are, I mean, Magnus at least is like less than 20 seconds. So he defended b2 because he got really, really scared about the prospect of losing that pawn and allowing two black pawns to move up. g5. g5 by Fabi here. Mastermind. What does that mean? Well, if you take with the knight, I've got some bad news for white here because we're talking about bishop to d2. Checks the king, skewering. And then king's going to go, I don't know, it's your job where you're going to go. And then bishop's going to take on g5. And, I mean, if this guy takes, we're going to have bishop to d2. And I'm not sure where you're going to go because this knight is going to be lost. So let me just go back. How do I revert back to those beautiful colors? Just bear with me, guys. I'm going to quickly peruse through the moves. What mess did I do? I'm not going to edit this. So let me just go back because I wanted to show you something. Oh, let me go back quickly here. So where were we? Yeah, rook a2, g again. So king had to take, otherwise you would have lost the knight. And knight to e4, checking now the king. King goes back on f4, attacking the white, the black knight takes on f2, attacking the white rook on h1. Rook moved, and now more and more checks coming. Those bishops are killing everything. So let's just take a second here to acknowledge how powerful the bishop pair is. The position is open, and the bishops are just simply killing everything on those light and dark squares diagonals. It's just mad. And the white king is so exposed. So exposed. Check, more check coming. I think Magnus was simply fuming. Really, he was just completely fuming. Bishop to c5 now attacking the rook. Magnus can't take advantage of the two rooks. They aren't connected. And now Fabi forces Magnus to go back in the corner where the rook was previously and just rendering the whole effort like useless. I mean, on the paper, you've got two rooks and two minor pieces. But look, rook on h1 doesn't exist. The bishop on f1 hasn't been played yet. Where? How you're going to play it? So just so many questions and big trouble here for Magnus. Of course, he lost the second game too. He's desperate to try to generate some counterplay. Bishop to e6, bishop to h3. So Magnus would think, oh, okay, now I played the bishop and hopefully my rooks are connected, but it ain't over. b4, pushing. This is key to understand. And b3, pushes the pawn. f2, check. Rook takes, of course, that's just too much. You have to. Rook takes and knight takes on f2. Bishop to f1. King centralizes. King g3. Check. Attacks. Goes away. Rook to e3. Knight to a8. Double pressure on the beat. So we're going to go back, guys, because we had also a checkmate in 4. I need to show you that one. Takes on b2 now because you're going to take material. And notice how black already has the two pass pawns. Move the king away because he probably was concerned about any shenanigans about some knight to c4 checking the king and such, and he didn't want to be in that position. So he moved the king away, h4, but again, there's a little bit too late. Fabi is doing incredibly well, and he is on to winning. Pinning the knight to the rook. It's not too much activity you could do. And now Fabi simply simplifies. He just decided, given the fact he got like 7 seconds on the clock, he wants to simplifying the game in this fashion, and is going to go down very, very quickly. Notice those 2 pass pawns. Rook to c2 doesn't allow anything. I mean, we're just going to takes, and this guy's going to promote. Is going to promote. b2 also works here, but he played with knight of b2. He probably wants to play fork, which he did do play, and game over here. That's it. Magnus, I think, was furious. Let me show you the 4-move checkmate, guys, that I've overlooked. We're going to get there in a second. Let me see that. Phenomenal checkmate in 4 moves. I'm going to show it to you guys. So knight f2, bishop d6 here, moved. Yeah, we got it here. So let's pause this one for a second. There was a sequence, but you know, we need to cut some slack to Fabi, because when you're having 20 seconds and less on the clock, time is ticking. You know, this is just something that it could be overlooked even by a super elite grandmaster player like Fabi here. There is a checkmate in 4, and the sequence starts with rook a6, and it is simply unstoppable. So this is the checkmate in 4 Fabi missed yesterday. You can't stop it. What we want to do with black is simply play rook h6, and game is over. Checkmate. That's it. So everything will be followed by a rook h6 checkmate. There is a way for white to prolong the agony. Oh, not this one, apologies. King to h5, which would say, whoa, wait a minute, yeah, but that stops, right? Well, it doesn't really stop it for long, following bishop e3, protecting h6, and allowing the rook to just simply deliver what we said, checkmate, right? So you could do now knight to g5. White could have played knight to g5, but again, that doesn't really work because bishop takes again. And rook h6 is unstoppable. This one is covered by the bishop. Covered by the bishop. The bishop is properly protected. There is no move for white to play and stop rook to h6 checkmate. So that was something that didn't happen yesterday. But what happened is that Fabi delivered amazing games versus Magnus Carlsen. 2 games in a row had won. And we're going to watch him today again. Join me later on, guys. Subscribe to this channel and see you soon.